What's up, guys? It's been a minute since I made a video. I think the last time you saw me I was in Florida and I had a Dodge Ram, and obviously this is not a Dodge Ram, but so we recap. We did a motor swap. My father-in-law and I did what Mercedes could not be done. We swapped a 3500 from a Freightliner Sprinter to a Sprinter, and then Mercedes tuned it for us after they told me multiple times it couldn't be done. But we got it done. Anyways, been driving it. We've got about 12,000 miles on the new motor. And we have an EcoFlow power system in here to power Peyton's equipment and like charge everything and run our air conditioner and everything. But been having a lot of electrical issues. And one of the things I cannot stand about all the great people I follow on YouTube with the van life is they never have any problems. Like, you constantly see these high dollar builds and they travel all over the country, but like, people don't show you the real stuff that happens. Like, I couldn't afford for Mercedes to put a motor in. So we bought a used motor and honestly YouTubed how to do it a little bit. And then my father-in-law and I just took it on. Like, we were like, well, whatever. We don't have the money to make Mercedes do it, so we're just going to do it. Actually was not as bad. It's very intimidating, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as everyone makes it out to be. But we also have a little bit of mechanical experience, mostly with Fords. This is the first Mercedes anybody in the family's messed with, but we at least knew what we were getting into to an extent. But I just wanted to say, so like, for people that are constantly like, oh man, van life's so awesome, you better learn how to do some stuff. So let me just give you a quick recap. Here's oil, and here's power steering fluid. When you drive a lot, crap wears out. These motors are notorious for burning a little bit of oil, especially if you use them a lot. Also, you can get a dipstick. For whatever reason, Mercedes doesn't make that optional on the Sprinters. Al Vans sells a really nice red topped dipstick so you can see it really easy at night. I think it was like $4 less than the Mercedes one, but I bought one from Al Vans. You can buy one just about anywhere, but I'm just going to tag them because I'm a friend of the owner of Al's, and that's what I bought. Secondly, so I buy everything from Mercedes, parts and lubricant, everything that I can. The EcoFlow stuff has turned into a complete nightmare. We burned up a system. No idea how. No one knows how that happened. We tend to be like the 1 in a million on the bad side of luck. A hub went bad. And then when they sent me a new hub, I lost a 110 outlet. So now instead of having 5 110 outlets, I only have 4 because the one that was on the hub got replaced. Well, messing with this system, I can usually charge off the alternator running down the highway, which we have solar and all that, but running Peyton's equipment constantly, I need constant power, and the solar's inconsistent. So we run it at max, 70 amps to charge running down the highway. For about 2 years, it wasn't a problem whatsoever. Well, then it slowly became a problem. And now I'm going to show you what it's like to be a poor Mercedes owner, because it's too expensive. Like, it's $300 an hour to go have Mercedes start going through the electrical stuff when honestly they know nothing what they're dealing with EcoFlow. So this is what you sit on when you're driving a Mercedes. This is the whole control unit. Here is my switch pros for my lights. Down here, I think I've got it all covered up. Yeah, all these red wires right here, this whole thing right here is EcoFlow. So that powers the whole system in the van. Like, all the 110, I've got 12 volt, that powers the air conditioner. The heater's tied into it, the diesel heater, so I can run it without the van running. There's a lot that goes on here, but like, it's the stuff like this that drives me nuts about watching YouTube. Because like, I'm not knocking anybody, don't get me wrong, you got your own world. I was like, but this is how I'm gonna do my van life videos. Is I'm not out here rock crawling this thing. I'm not beating the hell out of it and not taking care of it. Like, this thing's maintained religiously. I mean, it literally gets the best oil change every 5,000 miles. I rotate these tires every 5,000 miles. These Toyos are fantastic, but you better take care of them. You want them to last, you better take care of them. If they told me to start this thing for 2.5 minutes and let it run for 2.5 minutes and shut it off for 20 and then start it and it's good to go for the day and it'll run 500,000 miles, by God, that's what I'd do. but somehow I blew up a Sprinter motor. Not really sure how that happens, but you know, if you're going to own a van and you're going to travel on the road, you better learn how to do some stuff, because another clip that I'll add in here after I do this is all the tools I carry in the back, just to make sure I can handle anything I find on the road. So we have found the culprit. This morning when I went to leave for work, the van was not charging. And after letting it sit for a little bit, and luckily the EcoFlow has a kit, or in a part of it where I can charge the battery through the EcoFlow back through the battery in the van. I charged it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it took off. Well, then it quit charging, so I got my voltmeter out, checked the alternator. Alternator was putting out 15 volts, 14.8. And so then I knew that we had an issue somewhere, because the battery says that it was getting 12 but not charging. So this has been the issue. This little wire right here, under this cap, for anybody who's a new Sprinter owner, under this cap is basically everything. There's 5 fuses under here, but this one, this red wire, is for the EcoFlow. This is how it charges off the alternator. And under this cap is a 300 amp fuse. That fuse has been a nightmare for me. I've replaced it twice now on this van. The first time was just for my stupidity. I honestly forgot to do the ground disconnect, which for anybody that wants to see, the ground disconnect on the Sprinters is right there. And you've got this little, if I can get it out of there, you got this little thing. You push that little red tab and that pulls right off. That kills all the power to the van. I always tuck it away right here. That way it doesn't accidentally, you know, hit. Well, yeah, you can see how much I've had it in and out over the 3 years of owning this van. And matter of fact, today is the 3-year anniversary of owning this van, and here I am working on it instead of working on my customers' cars. But anyways, you have to pull all these off, every single one of these bolts, to pull this top cap off to get to the fuses. And I'll show you that here in just a minute. I'm not a pro videographer, so I will work and then show you the results. So you can see I got all the bolts off. You can see how this one's been way hotter. If you really look, I'm trying to get my headlamp right, you can see how it's been too hot down there compared to these other ones. I mean, these other ones don't have near the biggest fuse, but you know, same difference. So this pops off. I don't know if I can do it one-handed here while holding the phone, but all these are keyed. So like, yeah, they're numbered, but like they will only go back in one way. So like a lot of people are worried. I know like when I first did this, people were like, oh man, what if I do something wrong? They will only go one way. They're keyed specifically for that. So I'm gonna have to set this down. I'll make another clip and I'll show you. So here's the bus bar under the main, like under the driver's seat of a Sprinter. Mine's a 21 3500 4-wheel drive, in case anybody's wondering. But I believe all these are exactly the same. You may just have like different, like if you have, you know, power seats or whatever, you may have different stuff under here, but the basis is all the same. So here's the line that we're concerned about. As you can see how hot that is, or has been, compared to another one, which granted it was a different end, but it should not look like that, because this is aftermarket. This is not factory. This one right here is not factory for me anyways. I didn't have alternator charging or dual alternator or anything like that, so all these are factory, but this last one was added with the EcoFlow. But we can see how hot that's been. Not good. Not good at all. So that fuse is shot, needless to say, and we're gonna have to go find a new one. So that should be fun today. But just wanted to show everybody what real van life is like.